I'm Nuthan Prasanna. I'm 27 years old. I come from a family of freedom fighter. My grandfather was a freedom fighter. This is my country. This is all of our country. So we should be ready for all sorts of consequences. The 4 levels of diplomacy, the Chatushtaya, Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. We have to have capability in all fronts.
So definitely India has the potential to become a superpower.
A friend of mine quoted that peace is not the absence of war, but it's the presence of justice. The 4 levels of diplomacy, the Chatushtaya, Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. We have to have capability in all fronts. Now, when we talk about warfare, previously it used to be land warfare, maritime warfare from past 100 years, electromagnetic warfare, and from the advent of computers, cyber warfare. We have information warfare. We have financial warfare. People are oblivious to this fact, but everybody is at war in one way or the other. Either they are the participants or the victims, knowingly or unknowingly.
Okay, Nuthan, thank you so much for coming. And this is one of the discussions I have been waiting to have, because today I will get to know more about a startup that supports our military, Indian military, and the security force. So I'm very excited. But before that, it's more about you. I'm very keen to know about you.
First of all, thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure. It's also an inspiration looking at your previous videos and your own journey. I learned a lot. There's a lot of takeaways for me in my journey. And about myself, I'm Nuthan Prasanna. I'm 27 years old. And I come from a family of freedom fighter. My grandfather was a freedom fighter. And I grew up listening to those stories, and it was very inspiring. The kind of sacrifices their generation had to make so that we are sitting here today.
Right.
So that we can do what we want to do. We have that freedom. Mm-hmm. And so the whole journey has been, there's a lot of events in my journey which led me to converge to this point where I am as an entrepreneur in one of the challenging domains, defense. I would prefer to say military.
Right. Because so it was my passion, knowledge, skills, and more so purpose. Mm-hmm. I felt it's my responsibility to do. There was a point in after 12th, I never knew about NDA back then. So I come from that college where we did not hear about those things. And when I went to medical, then I realized, okay, there's something called MDA, and I could have gone into it. From childhood, I always wanted to join the forces. But then at some point, I also got interested in science and technology to such an extent that I also had that realization where one country can have 10,000 soldiers on the border, and the other country can just have one missile. And we are long way from those conventional wars where we watch that in the movies, those movies which of those ancient times, mm-hmm. where 2 armies are colliding each other, and so that's not happening. That's what is called as conventional war, and that's not happening. The last one we had was in 1999. Since then, it's always been asymmetric and hybrid warfare. What that means is asymmetry refers to those imbalances in technology where like if I can have a missile and the other side can have most sophisticated air defense system, and the other side can take the most sophisticated air defense system using a 20,000 rupees drone. So this is called asymmetric warfare. And all these things led me to believe that the future is leading that way. And I had to do something about it. So that was my purpose.
Before you talk about this, you're coming to the startup, but how did you start thinking about that particular product or the venture you have? When I saw your profile for a very first time, it was very captivating. Like I was totally, like I said, what is the story behind it? You did your MBBS and then you got into mechanical engineering. It's like two edges of the ocean, not even a river. So how did this happen? What is the story behind it?
Okay. The journey started in kindergarten. I grew up, my dad, he never, he encouraged me to watch more of these documentaries on Discovery, Nat Geo and all that. So I grew up watching that. And there was one particular time in kindergarten, I was like 6 years of age. And in that documentary, it was showing, you go and stand in front of a door and the door automatically opens. It was like magic. Okay, wow. So that was the event which led me to science, to know stuff, how things work. And then I wanted to build such things. So my entire journey in school days has been on this. In class 6, we started like a small group of people, friends, we came together and we like a secret society. We were designing things like machines, transformers, things which, and we were also captivated by these superheroes, like having those kind of abilities. So okay, can it be possible? Can such things be done? So we wanted to find out. We wanted to understand. We started in class 6, 7. We started reading about calculus, biotechnology. Not to that level of designing.
In class 7th?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm still like struggling.
So that I wanted to understand how things work. And back then we did not differentiate between science and technology. We did not know what is science and what is technology. We were just motivated to get as much information as possible in whatever ways. So we were designing these things, and in class 4, one of my uncles, he had asked, "What do you want to become when you grow up?" I said, "Scientist." And that kept on changing. Like once I was inspired by science, so I said scientist. And one time there was like, okay, engineer. And at one point, football player. And at some point, soldier. And I'm also like good in art, sketching. So I wanted to be an artist. So everything converged. In terms of habits also, like football, I represented, I went to state level.
Wow.
I represented Mandya district when I was...
What is your position?
Huh?
What is your position in football? You're a center forward?
In class 1, like in our school, we were encouraged to play football more than cricket. So we had that enthusiasm. I started in the forward.
Okay.
And then middle. And then because of my physique, I was put in the defending position. And in class 9 and 10, I became the goalie. One of the best. We won both. Like we had this inter-school competition, and both the years we won.
Oh wow!
It ended up in penalties, and we won there. So that was taken care of. Football player, and I also like went to that state level. Did not continue from there. And then science, engineering, and all this, it converged. So in class 12, I did not want to write biology in CET. My dad was like, I was interested. I was definitely studying everything I was interested in. I wanted to learn stuff, but not take medical as a career. But then my dad is a medical representative, and he used to interact with doctors and all that. So he took me to all those doctor friends he has, and he convinced me in such a way that okay, medical is good, and then there is also scope for research. Once you complete medical, you can do research. It's like, okay. And then I thought of giving it a chance. I wrote biology. I did not study, but got a good rank.
Wow.
So I got a seat.
Did you take the admission as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I got admitted in Mandya Institute of Medical Science. That's like top 3 in Karnataka. Started studying. I had no hesitation. Like till then, I had not even seen a dead body. And then in my first day of medical, they made me stand, the entire batch. They made us stand in front of a cadaver and to take all that in. So that was also my journey, the beginning of my journey, and also a realization of what a human life is. Because I was seeing a dead person for the first time. A person with half eyes open. And then it took some time. And then I got courage. They asked to touch the body, and everyone had that kind of a little hesitation of, I was like, okay, I'll be the first one to touch. And I was also the first one in the batch to dissect the chest region. So after all this, like at one point I realized, somewhere in half of the year, I realized after interacting with all the seniors that the whole of MBBS it's more of practice. You learn stuff, and in first year we had books like, if you keep it from the ground, it comes to this level. Just 3 subjects, but the books are so much. We had to memorize so much. I'm not that kind of person. I'm more of a creative person. I wanted creativity to invent stuff. I realized that, and then I took a call. I was in that dilemma. Okay, what should I do? If I need to go to research, then I'll have to wait for another 10 years. Because that's the scope for research and for anyone who goes into a medical field. I was like, okay, like, then what about all those dreams that I had? Like, I'll have to wait for 10 years. And then another event happened in my life. My grandmother, she was diagnosed with a fatally ill disease, and there was another realization I had. You know, even we see that a lot. Like when doctors treat, they say it's not in our hands to save someone. They have done their best, but it's not in their hands. They say it's all left to Almighty now. Mm-hmm. I was an atheist back then. I was like, okay. And then I realized, okay, no matter how much we try, if a person is meant to die, they will die. I was like, but before that, in whatever ways I can give back to the society, add value to the society, I realized, okay, it can only happen through engineering. So, you know, if we can enrich lives in terms of their essentials, needs, and all those things. So I decided, okay, I'm quitting.
So how did you convince yourself? Of course, you convinced yourself because of these certain things, but how did you convince your parents about it?
I'm really fortunate to have such parents who they still have that a little kind of dissatisfaction, or but then I realized, okay, I have to achieve. I don't have that kind of time, so I have to do something quick. Mm-hmm. I convinced them, and they were like, okay, do what you want. So I had to write CET once again, then got into engineering. Studied in Vidyavardhaka College of Engineering, mechanical. I took up mechanical because I'm more of like a visual person. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I joined engineering, I met a family friend, Rohan, and he was working on this satellite engine. He was doing aeronautical engineering in Coimbatore. He had come to his relative's place, and he also happens to be dad's friend's son. So I met him, and I was inspired. I was motivated. Okay, he's doing something in engineering while studying. I want to, learn and contribute in how much of a way possible. So, and that was one thing. And in college, there was a startup called, okay, I forgot the name, but final year students were running that startup. It was based on 3D printing. It was something new back then, 2013. It was totally new, 3D printing. We can print stuff.
Right.
It was new. I wanted to learn about the technology and also this new thing called entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So I started interacting with them. I learned about entrepreneurship, and his name was Nikhil. I learned a lot from him, and I was also motivated. He opened up this. Because of him, I learned about entrepreneurship and what we can do as entrepreneurs in the society. And taking that knowledge from him, I approached Rohan and I said, okay, let's do something. He was working on, he and his team, they were working on satellite engines. So I was like, okay, why don't we have a startup? So that it just happened in a flip. It's like, okay. Previously his plans was to do this project and become a professor, get into the academics field. They go, why? We can add value to the society. We can commercialize it, and so we started.
So
Electrics.
that was the first startup.
Yeah.
You have, okay. So if you talk about the current startup which you have here, where you are absolutely involved into the military side of the business, right? And so how did you get this? What is the story behind of this innovation of this startup? Because I believe one thing I can tell you, as we discuss off record as well, entrepreneurship is not about a businessman.
Yeah.
We always try to find a problem and then build a solution on that.
That's
so
true.
What happened with you?
As I mentioned, from childhood I was motivated from my grandfather, and also was inspired by these superhero movies and stuff. So wanted to do, realized that it can only happen through the government and soldiers, and national security is of utmost importance. People are oblivious to. So I happened to meet one retired colonel back then, and he was from MI, and he guided us. He told us, we did not have, I wanted to build weapon systems back from class 7. We were sketching stuff and doing all that. That was with no purpose. We had no operational insight from the military side. So even when I started studying in first year of engineering, I was going to professors and showing these sketches and discussing how to build a prototype and all that. And there was also an incident when parents meeting was called, and the professor was sitting there, 3 to 4 professors from different departments, and they were like, they told this to my mom, why is he even studying engineering?
Why?
Because in their perspective, I was ahead
Of that engineering.
Yeah,
course.
because I was discussing about things which, in academics, they don't go to the to that level of value addition to the society and all that. And the kind of the skills required for academics, engineering is different from product development on the industry side. So they were like, it's no use. So, but still, I wanted to have a degree. I said, no, I'll finish this. And I still remember in first class, the dean, he's the dean now. Back then, he was the HOD, head of department for mechanical engineering. When we have these introductory sessions of who we are, what we want to do, and everything, I still remember I was sitting in the last bench. I have always been a last bencher. And I told I wanted to become a weapon designer. Some of them stupefied, some of them were excited, some of them were like, okay. What is he saying? What does that even mean? So it was from then. And coincidentally, we happened to meet this colonel. he guided us. He gave us operational insights of what's happening and how crucial is national security. And when we realized this a theory called theory of human motivation by Dr. Maslow, which talks about different levels of essentials for human life. And the first is survival needs: air, water, food, and all that. And then comes the societal and the security needs, the social structure, social well-being, and homeland security, border security, justice system. All these comes under that. And then comes infrastructure, energy, communication, transportation, and all that. And then comes the esteem. And then comes the esteem part, which is about entrepreneurship, business, skills development, HR, human resource development, and all that. And then at the last is the fulfillment: entertainment, tourism, sports, adventure, all those stuff, luxury. So when we looked at the what's happening in the society, previously there were times when if people did not have food, even if you gave them money, they did not want money, they wanted food. But right now the situation has been such that even if they don't have food, all they require is a phone. They just keep playing games, and that's the kind of environment that we are looking at right now. So it's all messed up little. We realized, okay, there are value additions in different aspects. So we should, even before my goal was to do something for the military, design weapons. But then with this colonel who gave us real insights of what's really happening, it just made us, it just concretized the idea of, okay, we should do it for the nation. And so he put us through to teams in the special forces. We went there, observed, analyzed, identified the problem statements, and then we came up with this solution. And in terms of business philosophy, we believe in you can have a number of technologies, but if it does not have any operational value to the end user or the customer, it's of no use. So we take this holistic approach. We don't focus on the technology, unlike most of the startups these days. We focus on the solution. And to develop the solution, whatever capability we need to develop, we'll develop that. Because in terms of technology, as an engineer myself, even if I did mechanical engineering, but over time, when we started working on, I learned about electronics, electrical, computer science, and many, many other stuff. So I can speak all of those languages. I realized anything can be developed within the realms of science, of course. So any technology can be developed. What's required is that, that key insight, that crucial insight into the problem. Identifying the problem statement is the most important aspect. And when it comes to these critical areas, especially in the military sector, the problem statement does not even come out. Most of them. Yes, now, all the forces put up the problem statements, but there's a lot of process behind that. At the ground level, the soldiers and Jawans who are facing the problems at the ground level, for that to reach the top level, it takes around 1.5 years. By the time it goes there, and then there's a systematic process involved in all that. We don't want to get into that. But what we are lacking is, when there is a solution for that problem, it would have been too late. The problem would have evolved and the solution would be irrelevant. So we understood this. So our approach was talk to the end users, identify, and there's a saying, it's always good to have third person's insight.
Right.
So since they were involved in the missions, there are areas where they oversee certain aspects. They just consider it to be part of their standard operating procedure. So they're so used to it. But we understood the problem statement there, and we told them, okay, this is the problem. And till we told them, they were like, okay, maybe, but is there any solution to it?
So what is a product?
Okay,
right
now I'll come to that. What we developed was a communication system. It's called a tactical communication system for special operations. When we talk about special operations, the best example is the movie Uri, where they give you an insight of how it's going to happen. Not exactly the same way, but similar to that. So there are areas where soldiers are not able to communicate with each other. Certain phases of the mission.
Okay.
And that lack of communication is leading to lack of coordination. And they are trained for that. They are not. The problem is, they have radio sets, but they still can't use it. Because during urban warfare and jungle warfare, the surrounding areas are so silent. Literally, a whisper can be heard at a large distance. So the element of surprise is what gives a tactical edge for our forces. And to maintain that tactical edge, they cannot talk. They can't speak. For that reason, they are not using the radio sets. They are relying on body language to communicate with each other.
And in most of the movies I have seen that.
Yes.
Like action.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
It need not be just hand gestures. It can be even an eyebrow movement, which means something to the other soldier.
Right.
So this is the situation. But for that to work, the soldiers have to be in line of sight.
Right.
If one soldier is on one corner and the other soldier is across the corner, there's no line of sight.
Right.
So they are relying on pre-training or like their training. And no matter how much the soldiers are trained, during the mission,
You have no idea what will happen.
exactly, there's a lot of uncertainties.
Yeah.
So one of our mentors is from NSG, and he says, no matter, like, we have plan A, plan B, plan C, but the moment a gunshot fires, all the plan goes to the dustbin.
Right.
So during these phases, we got insights from the forces that they are not able to communicate for 40 to 50% of the time. And then that's a huge thing. Like when they are at those most critical times where they are required, they need to communicate to engage the enemies. They are not able to communicate. And most of the casualties during 2008 Mumbai attacks was because of this. One of the most prominent
Example we have.
issues. Yeah, that's on the public domain.
Right.
And we have also got the numbers that the last time we went to a conventional warfare was in 99, Kargil. After that, there's not much of a conventional except for a few standoffs here and there. We have not witnessed any conventional war. But when it comes to special operations, that's happening every day. And in those areas, there are no innovations for them. So we understood the problem statement, discussed with them, brainstormed, we sat with them and then came up with a solution. We developed a tactical communication system in which they can stay communicated for 100% of the time.
Okay.
That's innovation. It's based on...
So when you say they're gonna be connected, how does it work? Like, is there any, like, again, if you are in that particular area where you can see, you can hear any small tiny sound as well, how is it gonna work in that particular location?
I'll tell you how our system works. It digitizes the human motion. It's a vast array of sensors, processors and everything which is fit in the uniform. And it digitizes the human motion. What they were trained for, body language, we are reading that. And we are translating into the intended message, and it's being communicated to other soldiers.
You have to be properly trained on those things. Like, take an example, like if you put that system in the uniform and you say that.
No, there's no new training needed. They're already trained for something. Okay. They have
standard operating procedures for how they need to communicate. Each unit,
Can you give me an example of it?
like this might be stopped in general sense, like this might be stopped and this might be go forward, or it can be even as trivial as an eyebrow movement. Each team has their own set of body languages, so they don't need to train for that.
No, but your system, how does it work?
We have sensors throughout the body. It integrates with the uniform and it reads those gestures, body language, and then it converts it. There's something called data fusion happening, and signal processing understands what that intended body language was, and it shares it to other soldier.
So if you have 50 people, right, and if they're into a war, 50 people have a 50 position and a mindset.
Yes.
You never know, right?
Yes.
So this system, how it will work when we have 50 people with different things are happening.
Okay. In
How
terms
they
of
gonna create the coordination part?
in terms of communication, there are one is broadcasting. When the current radio sets which they have, like when they press the button and speak, it's broadcasting the message to everyone else. There are different channels which they can tune into and create sub networks. A group of, let's say, 3 individuals on a separate channel and 3 individuals on a separate channel. So they can do all that. But it's mainly broadcasting. So we are relying on that. We use the same methodology, but our innovation lies in its the modality. One aspect is the modality, where the soldiers were talking. They had to talk to communicate. Now they don't have to talk to send their message. And also another innovation is now the transmission side, it's AI. On the reception end, they can hear the message without exactly hearing.
I beg your pardon. This is very interesting. So first of all, so in this particular product which you have, so we have AI involved into it.
Yeah, there's a
AI.
lot of technologies.
So if I talk about AI, machine learning, IoT, or RPA, robotic process automation as well. So we have all those
not
things.
exactly automation. Yeah, AI. AI, data fusion,
Data fusion also.
big data, a lot of other technologies. As I mentioned, we don't focus on the technology. It's anyone can develop a technology. It's the solution what matters.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are a lot of underlying technologies: data fusion, digital signal processing, artificial intelligence, and one crucial aspect is the neuroscience, where we are creating a neural link through the somatosensory part, and soldiers will be able to get the message without actually hearing them. So this is one of the crucial aspects. Now I'll give another scenario, like what's happening. Let's go to the mindset of the soldier. When they are approaching the enemy territory, their brain is required to process many things. One is situational awareness. They need to be aware of what is around them, what is where around them in a spatial manner. They have to be aware of that. And then threat assessment. They know what is where. Now they need to, based on their experience and imagination, they need to assess where the threat could be. Okay, there's a bush. Example, there's a bush. What if there's an enemy behind? Or what if there's a tripwire? So this is threat assessment. It's a combination of their experience and imagination. So that's threat evaluation. And then choice. They have to make a choice. Okay, if that happens, what is my set of actions? What is the contingency for, like, if something happens, what are we supposed to do? So they should have contingencies. And all these processes, especially for the situational awareness part, the information is primarily going through eyes and ears. Their eyes have to be open, they need to be looking around, and their ears, when we talk about the physics part, like their eyes, it's limited. Like they have like 170 degree vision, but it's limited. But ears, it can get sounds from 360 degrees. So they need to be aware. If they are plugging a earphone during those critical areas for communication with each other, there's a trade-off in how their brain is processing. They need to listen to that as well as what's happening around them. Let's say if someone is coming behind them, an enemy is coming behind them, if the soldier is busy in communicating with the other teammates, they can't listen to it. It's like, imagine, we call this sensory overload. You're driving a car at 120 kilometers per hour, and if you're given the task of let's say you're driving the car in the middle of a busy street, okay, so where will your concentration be? It has to be on, like, how should I maneuver?
Right.
Your brain is also doing all these three stuff. Now, if I put in more, like, you're given the task of, let's say there are few friends of yours in the middle of a crowd. If you need and you are given the task of identifying those friends in the middle of 100 people while driving 120 kilometers per hour, is it a sane task?
No, it's going to be difficult, I guess.
It's totally difficult.
Right.
You need to keep your eyes on the road and also
There's so many things you are already doing, right?
Exactly. This is sensory overload. This is happening. So we realized there's one technology which was developed. It was proven in the lab scale back in 1960s. So we thought, okay, there's a technology. We can implement it here and improve their situational awareness in real time. So we solved the communication part. They can stay communicated for 100% of their time, the mission time, and improving their situational awareness. And also, another aspect is, previously, when they are not using the radios, when they're not talking, unless they have body cameras, which is not much used, the mission commanders, they need to have awareness of what's happening in the mission, so that they can take calls, whether to send additional deployments or to abort the mission or for whatever reasons. So they need to be aware of what's happening in real time. Currently, when they're not talking, in every team there will be one person for communication. That's called strategic communication. The task of that person is to tell what's happening in the surroundings, and that communication will be given to the mission headquarters. That is limited to that particular person. The mission commanders are not aware of what's happening with everyone unless they have body cameras, which is not widely used. And here, what we did was, we have this array of sensors, we know everything, and our system is taking in all that data. We also relay that in real time. The mission commanders, it's increasing the decision-making capabilities for mission commanders in real time. These are the capabilities which was not widely available before, especially this part.
So do you have any competition in the market right now? Because do you see any product is already available and you made the enhancement, or it's a very unique product you have?
What we created was a totally new product, and we created a new market segment. So we believe in this business philosophy called Blue Ocean Strategy, where it all talks about making the competition irrelevant. Either create a new product so unique that the others can't compete, or create a new market segment. So this is what we have done. Right now, we don't have a competition. And we have a line of technology roadmap and enhancement and value additions to these missions, which we have planned. This insight others can't have. So this is the kind of USP we have.
And this is something which I believe that this is going to be a unique product. Why I'm saying, because what are the top 5 companies or startups we have? They claim that they are into defense support function and all, but they are making drones.
There are more than 1,000 companies in India making drones.
Drones, yeah. So this is the first time when I get to know about this particular part when you're talking about this communication part, and this is a very, very interesting as well. So when you talk about the defense part, so have you taken any kind of approval from the Ministry of Defense? Because there will be a lot of regulatory affairs we have to build such product, isn't it?
Approval in the sense, till now, to build a prototype, we don't need any approval. We just need insights from what's happening, and that's also difficult to get in because of the mentors we had.
we were fortunate enough to understand this problem statement, and we are really fortunate to add some value, create value for something as crucial as this. And this is one of the products which we are working on. We widely focus on electromagnetic and cyber warfare. That's the future, because in warfare, when we talk about warfare, so there are various systems: land systems, maritime systems, aerial systems, space systems, all physical assets. And in future, even space will be weaponized. Most companies are working towards that. And the enabling factor is communications and the electromagnetic spectrum, which was overseen till now. And it's only it's taking more and more center stage with the recent wars which we are witnessing. So electromagnetic warfare is what enables all the other systems to function in a coordinated manner. Now, without communication systems, two teams can be attacking. They will have different mission objectives, and they are required to accomplish those missions. But for them to coordinate, there has to be a communication link between them. And only with communication they can coordinate their attacks or for to accomplish their mission objectives. So this is a very, very crucial area. This enables everything else. Only with communication, when we talk about communication, it's actually information management, decision management, and execution management. For the soldier, for the higher ups, they need to be aware of what's happening in real time. Only then they can take critical decisions, and these are called decision support systems. For that to be enabled, communication and electronic systems is what makes it happen. So our focus in Dvizira, it's not just about one particular product that we have, but we focus on the entire spectrum of electromagnetic warfare. This is to begin with. We also have other product lineups. We are working on different projects.
So can we talk about your company? What is the name of that? I'm sorry, I don't want
Dvizira.
Dvizira. How do you?
Dvizira.
Dvizira. Dvizira. Okay, I'm so sorry. My apology for that.
Dvizira.
So how did you get this name? What is the idea behind it?
The term, it's from Sanskrita. It means biceps. And according to Vedas, biceps arms represent a Kshatriya. Okay. So we want to represent Kshatriya, our warriors. Uh-huh. So that's the story behind the name.
Okay, and what is the current team size we have? Who are involved?
We have 9. It's a team of 9.
And they all are based out of Mysore?
Yes.
Okay, so do we where exactly we are at, with this product? It is about to get deployed or still under the scrutiny process?
Okay, when you talk about this particular product, the prototype is ready, and in terms of validation, it's the end users have validated it. Okay. In 2020, we were one of the 10 startups Ministry of Defense had selected to showcase during the DefExpo. Okay. And then there was an incident. There are protocols when the Prime Minister was supposed to visit. So we were told certain protocols and we were supposed to follow that. And one of the nodal officers who was responsible for all those 10 startups in that zone, he told us, since it was a wearable, he told me to wear that rather than keeping it on the table. It's not that appealing. So he told me to wear that on the day of the Prime Minister's visit. And I wore that. And then we were told to evacuate the entire complex so that SPG does a security sweep. I went along with other startups. We had breakfast and then we were going back. We realized the entire building was taken up by SPG. And then there was a realization. I realized what mistake I had done. I had wore that. Nothing was supposed to go out.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask you were still wearing that.
And security check was happening. They were calling out names individually. there were 3 levels of security, CISF and Lucknow police, and there were many other units, SPG of course. On the previous day, they had taken the list of the showcase exhibits, and we had given the list to the Lucknow police, and maybe due to lack of coordination between them, like it's all stressful moments. When SPG had taken over, that information was not passed on. I realized what what could be the consequence, because it's a wearable. There are wires running all around the.
Like it's a different mindset altogether.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Before even they called my name, I went to them and I told, this thing happened. It's a wearable. It's a new technology. You would not have seen it before, and you could have guessed their response. Everybody freaked out.
I can imagine.
The line was stopped for 45 minutes.
And they were checking out, like, what's going on there.
Yeah, there was another issue. They were not able to understand, like, people, my Hindi is a little bad and their English was bad. I was trying to explain it to them, but of course we can't translate the technical terminologies in Hindi. So I was trying as much as possible. And then finally they were like, get the dog squad, and all that happened. They surrounded me.
It is like a lifetime experience, I must say. It's a lifetime experience. Right.
So in that moment, after they got other instruments to validate what it was, I was like, just get me tools, I'll open and show. They're like, no, you please wait. For lucky me, they were diplomatic.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. I was not trying to panic, and they were also not trying to panic, but they were spooked for sure. When they got I told them, give me the tools, I'll open up and show what's inside. And they're like, please wait. And then they got some instruments, checked it. There was a sigh of relief. And then they asked, what is this? I explained them. I told them it's the first in the world. Of course, you wouldn't have seen such technology. And then I was sent inside. The PM visited. The same day, we got a call from NSG, National Security Guards. They told they are inviting us for an NSG international seminar and want us to demonstrate this technology and understand how it's going to happen. So soon after DefExpo, we went to NSG headquarters in Haryana. Mm-hmm. They took us part of the panel discussion to understand the trends in terrorism and how to counter it using technology. So we were part of that. So they understood the importance of the technology. And this was in 2020. The policies was not, it was still on papers. So yes, it's a difficult industry to crack. They asked, like, okay, if we place this order now, can you deliver it in 6 months? It's a prototype. It doesn't work that way. Prototype to product, it has its own life cycle.
Of course.
We have to, the functionality is there, but to ruggedize it, to meet up to their standards of the kind of environments they go in and everything for that, we told it's going to take some time. But they were of the mindset that till now, like when it comes to all these critical technologies, the mindset still prevails that companies in India get the technology from foreign partnerships, and then we just manufacture it here.
So did you get the funding from Indian government?
No, we bootstrapped this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because there was no scheme to...
No, but right now you are moving forward, right? You are just going for this delivery part. So you need funding, right?
Definitely we need. That's why, after that, we won 2 projects under IDEX program. IDEX is one of the initiative of Ministry of Defense. And they, at least in 2020, they put us on NCNC. That means no cost, no commitment. You develop the product, come to us, and then there's no commitment as well.
That they will buy it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was how things used to happen in the defense sector. At least now they are like partially giving the grants, and we see a positive change in policies in just 2 years.
Since you're talking about the policy, if you see the year 1999, Indian government has taken a lot of initiatives like Make in India, right? Startup India, and of course Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? So did you get any support from these initiatives?
Yes, we did. In not the ways we wanted it to, because when we talk about all these initiatives, especially in the military sector, Atmanirbhar, what they're meaning is it's for the manufacturing sector, not for engineering, not exactly for engineering. So most of the technologies, they are encouraging companies to get it from outside and then integrate it here or manufacture it here, test it.
I have a question here, Nuthan. In Atmanirbhar initiative, they wanted to support 250 startups. They are supporting the defense or the military industry.
Definitely.
And worth like $79 million, something like that.
That's true. That's the policy. That's why we are very positive on that aspect. We are seeing those changes. It's happening. But when we started, it was not so easy to get in. And the initiatives now are really good. We are hoping to, after winning the 2 projects, we'll be getting grants and from the Ministry of Defense to develop that. One of that is also in the same domain, communications. It's part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and so from all that, now we are at that point where we are looking for investment to take it forward.
So when you talk about the investment, is it required you can have only investment from these initiatives, or you can also take external VCs and angel investors?
External investments as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no demarcation, there is no restriction from the government of India that you can't take this?
No. We can even take investment from foreign company.
FDI as well?
FDI, yeah.
Okay. That is a part of Make in India?
Yeah, that's there. But there are regulations in terms of exports, and like we are not supposed to export it for certain countries.
Take an example, China.
We can't export it to them.
One of the SoftBank, right? SoftBank. SoftBank is one of the investors. They are investing everywhere.
Yes.
And it's based out of China.
Yeah.
Right. So if they are willing to do, then investments.
We need to check into that.
Okay, that's fine. We talk about so many things about your product and the company and everything. Now coming to the more interesting part here, your entrepreneurial journey, right? And I am on the same boat the way you are, right? But still I want to understand, what does it mean to you being an entrepreneur? What is the exact meaning of entrepreneurship in your book?
So to me, entrepreneurship, it's all about doing things differently and trying out, taking the risk. And, if you ask me, the biggest risk is taking no risks at all. And so entrepreneurship, it's all about value addition to the society, and in a way that we can try out in different methods and take responsibility for that, be accountable for that. So
are you looking for quick ROI?
On the business front, yes, we have to.
Okay. But do you know that it will take some time, because
definitely,
right? Maybe another year when you actually say yourself that, okay, I'm into the profit, right, business model, right? Right now, I don't think so it's going to happen.
About this IDEX initiative, once we complete the user trials, we can expect an order within 6 months from the trials. So that's
how much you are ready for that to get into the production?
One of that is a software, so it doesn't take much of testing.
Oh, okay.
It does. There will be simulations and everything, but it's not as rigorous as an hardware equipment. So we plan to complete that in under 12 to 15 months and can expect an order in 18 to 24 months.
It's not from defense?
From defense.
From defense as well. Okay. So can you talk about, see, you said that you have 9 people in your team, right? And I'm going to talk about the challenges what you are facing here. Because see, I did not experience that part because I do not have any partner. I'm the solo player here. But when you have a lot of people, how do you understand the tenacity of the founders? What is the mindset? Like, how do you do the collaboration?
It's very important. That's the most important, if you ask me. And one thing is, we all come from different backgrounds and experiences and knowledge and skills from different domains, but driven by a common purpose. Like if you ask me, we wake up every morning thinking that if we did not have this, if we were not building this system, imagining a scenario where this system does not exist, the kind of negative impact it would have on the national security. So that drives us. Everyone is driven by that purpose, and it's so that's what brings us together.
So they all are 100% into this
Yes.
startup.
Yes.
They're doing nothing.
No.
Oh.
This.
Okay. Now, because sometimes I have seen that if you have a different direction, right, and if you get a businessman mindset, it's not going to work in this way. So
Definitely, it's also one of the most profitable business areas.
no,
if you ask
it
me.
is. See, ultimately, if you see as an entrepreneur, you have a long visibility about your product.
Yeah.
Finally, you put the efforts, you see the changes, and then you expect ROI.
Yeah.
Being a businessman, the moment you put the money, next year I will think about, where's my profit and loss?
We do expect investors to understand the kind of area we are dealing with. So we have some expectations and of how their when we talk about ROI, yes, definitely, because that's the whole point of business, for profit. But the thing which we expect from the investors is that they should understand a bit about the industry we are in and the kind of impact we are creating in the whole industry. We are creating a new market segment, and the value addition we are giving it to the soldiers, the commanders at various levels, and in turn the value addition we are creating for national security, we will be. So that's the we want investors to understand that.
So
part.
do you have like current investors into this business?
Till now we haven't raised any. We were bootstrapped.
Bootstrap. Okay.
Now we are in talks with few investors, and we are happy that they are understanding, some of them.
So when you take the help, it's very difficult to drive and create a same mindset, because if you take I can give the example that in one of the articles of Ratan Tata ji, I was hearing it. They say that Reliance industry they are the businessman.
Yeah.
And we are the
Industrialist.
industrialist.
Yeah.
Right? Because they want to have the monopoly. Whatever the business they get into, they just want to own that business. Jio is one of the examples they have. They have destroyed the complete digital world, right? They are having that control now. But as an industrialist or as an entrepreneur, we all want to grow with others. This should also grow. That is our whole objective of being an entrepreneur here.
Definitely.
Right? So when we take this help from the, investors, they don't have any idea. They just, there's a business, there's a defense, let's get into it. How are you going to handle those people?
Every lock has its own key. And we just need to find the direction to find that right key. So it's all about understanding the objectives, and that's where discussion happens. We want to understand, this is our objective. Okay, what is your objective? And this is our goal. What is your goal? So it's all in the discussion.
So when it's my opinion, and I did not experience that part, so I'm just trying to get the idea from you. If you take the help from VCs, right? They are the real businessman.
Yeah.
They do not invest the money at the beginning of your startup. They will come into the picture when you have already 3 years, 4 years, and they will try to spend the money. But angel investors, they are the people who are ready to invest when you are founding your goals and everything. So do you also approaching angel investors, or you're also looking for VCs?
Okay. The thing about military is there are no, when we talk about VCs, they have certain focus areas. Like let's say now the most in their perspective, the most promising sectors are these fintech and other
Healthcare
areas.
for that
Healthcare,
matter.
yes.
Yeah.
So some VCs are very focused because even they have to keep their shareholders and their limited partners. They have to give confidence, so they have focus. We understand that part. But right now, there are no VCs in India which is focusing on the defense sector, military sector. So that's one of the challenges any military startup is facing, because the government also expects us to become a sustainable business, and only then we will be able to deliver the solutions which we promise.
So let me just take you to the Shark Tank episode here. And you are here, and I'm one of the sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you have to, I'm already very interested in your product. So what is your offer, and how much you're expecting?
When we talk about B2C and B2B, especially B2C, this strategy is different, the market approach is different, go-to-market, and the financial metrics is different.
Different, right?
So when we talk about that, most of the investors are of the mindset that, okay, show us the volume. In defense, it's not about the volume, it's the price per volume. The volume will be less, but the price will be more. And when we talk about that, let's say tomorrow, if this is happening, one of the startups recently got an order worth 150 crores. And so that's the kind of numbers we are speaking at.
How you are creating the awareness of this product in the market? Of course, your market is not the B2C market. It's a very specific market you have.
It's not even B2B.
Yeah, not even B2B, not B2C. It's a differently, very different market, and with a lot of demarcations, a lot of protocols, regulations. So how you are creating the awareness about this product among people whom we are targeting right now? Even you talk about the VCs and everything. If they are watching this video, you can get some idea about it.
Till now, we were in that stealth mode, and our approach was totally through contact the forces directly, talk to them, discuss with them, understand get their insights, and innovate and improvise wherever possible. So that was our approach till now, and we did get certain visibility through DefExpo 2020 and DefExpo 2022, which was supposed to happen. They say it's postponed, so hoping that happens. So these are the visibility areas for us, and conferences and workshops from the military. So this was our approach till now, and from now it will be again, we can't expect the kind of marketing the other players in the B2C and B2B does.
So I have a question here, so I want to understand one thing here. As we discussed before capturing this video, I want to understand, when you go and when you pitch to investors, no matter who is there in front of you, what you have in your mind, and how do you do that? That what is the appropriate approach we have?
First thing, even like business VCs or anyone, or strategic investors for that matter, first they want to validate the problem statement. So the first objective will always be to explain them and create, in our case, create awareness about the problem statement, and then give them confidence about the validation that we have done and the process that we have gone through. And then we come to our strategy, and later about the financials, projections, and the investment we require, and how we'll be utilizing that investment. So these are all areas that we'll touch upon.
So they also anticipate you talk about the forecast of the profitability of this product as well?
Definitely, yes. So it's all about confidence building, and the first confidence comes through understanding the problem statement
and then the solution that we have come up with, and telling them how or why is this solution better than anything else, if anything else exists. In their terms, next best offering.
Next best offering. Yeah. Okay.
So we talk about, they want to understand about the next best offering, if anything exists, and then credibility of what we have done, and validating it in terms of technology, it in terms of operational means, and how it's going to add value to the customers. Mm-hmm. So this is first is the confidence building part. And then after the confidence building part, in terms of problem solution fit, then we go to the strategy. In general terms, go to market. What are the actions, set of actions we are going to take to, as you rightly mentioned, create awareness, and the approaches we need to take, understanding the procedures involved in this. So they expect us to know things about how we are going to take the product, who is the authorizing person, and what is the process, how long is it going to take, and all these aspects. And one of the few of the hindrances in the VCs and strategic investors to get into defense sector or military sector was this. We got one of the feedback we got from a potential VC we are talking to, who are interested in the technology and wants to understand more. That's a we are lucky because not many wants to. As soon as we wrote out mails, they were like, okay, it's defense sector, we don't want to get into that. So few of us,
because
few of them,
I'm sorry to interrupt, because they are not interested, because there's a lot of, they're also skeptical about this industry or the approvals.
That has been the industry from past 75 years. Only now things are changing, because still now we were the largest importer of weapons. World's #1 importer of weapon systems. So this was the scenario. Only now there are companies and startups like us which are getting into this and understanding the problem statements and trying to add value and monetize through that. So it's just lack of awareness in this domain, I would say. But given the chance, if they are interested, we are willing to explain them everything. So in that sense, there are few VCs who we are talking to right now, and we were lucky to that they want to understand the industry. And few of the feedbacks they gave was, okay, what about the sales cycle that we have heard? It's very long in the military sector. It was previously, definitely. And now the current policies, it has brought it down to like 4 to 5 months, all the way from 2 to 2.5 years. Now it has come down to 4 to 4.5 months. And this was one of the point. And other points were regulations, once again, for export. Can we take this to the global market? Definitely, yes. There are only restrictions in terms of Ministry of External Affairs releases a list of countries, where a few list of countries or rogue countries are in terms of our diplomatic stand, where we should not sell these equipment. So except that, the maybe 5 to 10% of the countries, if it's out of the domain, we have a bigger chunk to access. So this is one area. And the testing, definitely testing is previously it used to happen for anywhere between 6 months to 2 years. There were summer trials, winter trials in all terrains, and multiple iterations of that. It used to happen, yes. Now they have changed the strategy. If it's software, there's not much testing involved. Simulation, they will run simulations, and you do user trials in that sense. For software, it has come down, and for hardware also it has come down. So the
we see positive impacts when it comes to policies, and these were the hindrances for any VC or companies to get into the defense. Now that the the government is doing its part in trying to deregulate most of these issues, become more transparent in terms of acquisition process and all that, now few VCs are getting interested.
Fair enough. So we are almost about to finish. Anything you have in your mind which you want to address, you want to talk about it?
One of the things which we believe in Dvizira is that is also the motto of the Supreme Court of India. Yato dharmasya tato jaya. Only where there is dharma, when I mean dharma, it's not about religion. Dharma is a duty, and everyone has their own duty. Only where there is proper dharma, there can exist truth, justice, and victory. So this was the point which we believe, and in terms of economy, Bharat is growing rapidly. Just recently, we saw the numbers, the GDP growth. It's at 8.7%. Much like the entire the global GDP has come down, but Bharat's GDP has gone up from minus 6.6% last year to 8.7% this year, whereas the global average has gone down. So as a country, we are evolving rapidly, exponentially. We are growing, and whenever there is this rapid growth in terms of economy, it rattles other countries. The dynamics of geopolitical power, after World War II, it was a bipolar world. There were two powers, USA and USSR. And after the Cold War, there was only one superpower, claimed superpower, USA. And then we saw the emerge of multipolar world in the 90s and 2000s. Now what we are witnessing is a hybrid or heteropolar world. What hetero means is that entities, non-state entities, which does not care about the border, multinational corporations, religious bodies, terrorist groups, all these entities which don't have borders. So they are cross-cutting. So when this is the scenario, with the evolving geopolitical needs and desires for power, this is going to change a lot of things. Before our independence, I would like to quote Veer Savarkar, who was a prominent, who today the strategy which we follow in military and homeland security is also, he was also a primary major contributor, and he said there are no permanent friends or allies or enemies in the global order. There are only permanent interests. So every country has their own interests, and given this growth and shift in power, we can see a lot of when a country grows, this happens individually also. When someone is growing, there will always be people who try to help the person, and there will also be other set of people who try to drag you down. Right. Now, as a country, we will witness that. What we are witnessing a lot of proxy wars, state-sponsored proxy wars, foreign state-sponsored. When we mean state, countries which are bordering us. So all the attacks that's happening in some of the regions within the country is all because of that, and it's all economic. It's driven by economy. So as we grow even more and more, the threat also increases as a country. And because of all these reasons, now Bharat, this is my country. This is all of our country. So we should be ready for all sorts of consequences. Now, when we talk about warfare, previously it used to be land warfare, maritime warfare. From recent times, when we mean recent, like from past 100 years, electromagnetic warfare, and from the advent of computers, cyber warfare. And now, people are oblivious to this fact, but everybody is at war in one way or the other. Either they are the participants or the victims, knowingly or unknowingly. We have information warfare. We have financial warfare. Now, our northeast bordering country, it's clearly visible what they did with Sri Lanka, what they are doing with African countries. We should be fortunate and thanking this government and the previous governments to ensure that we don't go into that kind of economic crisis. But that's not going to be enough. We need to be ready. We have to be prepared as a country. We need to have.
Very far. I also believe that, I will not take that name of the neighbor country, but also I can see that FDI and a lot of things are coming, and they are slowly and gradually they are capturing that part as well. If that happens, then we're not going to be too far to get affected by this.
There are attempts, this is one of the strategies in financial warfare, where a country tries to get into the backbone of the other country and creating huge valuations and then suddenly dropping it. Now, in the meanwhile, who's the loser? It's the shareholders, it's the common people, it's you and me, it's the people watching this video. All of us will be directly or indirectly affected. So the warfare is evolving, and we need to develop capabilities on all fronts. All fronts. We have one of the best capabilities, but that's not sufficient. We need to march forward with even more sophisticated and futuristic solutions. So that drives Dvizira.
Okay. So Nuthan, would you agree with me, since we're talking about different aspects of this war, right? I also believe that somehow our youth is also into such kind of war. I can tell you why do I feel so, because if you see, these Chinese apps are coming to the picture, where youth is getting involved into it, like watching this PUBG and then TikTok and whatever things that they're doing, right? Most of the times they are spending their time on it. So somehow they are diverting from the main focus where they are heading to, right? So what do you think about this part? Do you agree with me?
Definitely. It's a psychological warfare.
Psychological warfare, yeah.
When I mean that, it's not about controlling people, hypnotizing them and all that. I don't want to get into that. But when we talk about these apps and all that, it's a distraction being created for the youth, because they know when they, all these apps and social media, some of them, those are all tools. A tool can be used for productive purpose as well as a destructive purpose. It depends on the user. But when certain apps and games, they are like recently, they are being designed to keep the user addicted. It's neither creating productivity nor destroying, but in a sense, it's distracting the youth from reaching their full potential and contributing to the nation.
Right.
So it's a distraction. It's part of a strategy, psychological warfare strategy, information warfare, creating fake news, and we discussed this. The first victim in war is always the truth. So there will always be sides trying to distract the other side by creating fake propagandas or distracting them or deceiving them. So these are all part of the warfare. So directly or indirectly, we are all being victims of that.
Exactly.
So we need to be conscious about what we are, every action we do, where we are spending our time. Is it being used for productive action? Is it going to be helpful for me individually, for my family, for my country? So we have to be conscious about all that. So that we can counter these strategies.
Okay, fair enough. Any other points we have to discuss here? Because I'm ready to hit the rapid fire round with you.
I would say, in this changing world dynamics, Bharat has to take the superpower status as quickly as possible. And it's only recently that I was interacting with a friend of mine who is trying for UPSC, an aspirant. And the friend was mentioning the very definition of a superpower is that the country should be able to intervene any conflict in anywhere in the world under a certain duration of time. So that's the very definition of a superpower. And we as a country, we are doing our best. The government is doing its best to increase its soft power. But why should India, Bharat, take the status of superpower? It's to, once again, quoting the motto of Supreme Court of Bharat, Yato dharmasya tato jaya. And only Bharat has the true capability to establish that dharma on the global scale. Not out of superiority, but as a responsibility, we have to do it. Only then there can be peace. A friend of mine quoted that peace is not the absence of war, but it's the presence of justice. So that's peace. And why should we, it could be counterproductive, coming from a military startup, I'm talking about peace. That's the whole point, of even Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. This is the point he mentions. The 4 levels of diplomacy, the Chatushtaya, Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. And we have to have capability in all fronts to maybe neutralize the enemy or do whatever it takes to establish that dharma. And that's the whole point. The whole conversation between Krishna and Arjuna took place on a battlefield, and Krishna was talking about peace. And to establish that peace, war was inevitable. And war will always be inevitable when people get into this mode of materialistic gain and the thirst for power driven by ajnana. Only Bharat has the capability as a country to eliminate that ajnana and establish the true sense of dharma, peace and harmony within the world. And for that, we should be prepared in all fronts.
Even if you talk about the superpower part, of course, you're talking about from different angle altogether. But if you talk about me, India has the population, right, which is very young right now.
Yeah.
They are the average age we have is 28 years to 32 years old.
That's
folks we have. If you talk about Japan, people are getting old. If you talk about US, China, people are getting old. That's why China has changed the policy that we should not have one kid. Now they are saying, okay, get more kids, right? So definitely India has a potential to become a superpower from all different aspects, whether it's about technology or people. But my suggestion is, if youth does not understand that part right now, days are not very far when you will become old.
That's true.
So Nuthan, we discussed a lot of things, and we got the fair idea about what is the real situation in the war side. It's not only about the land war or a lot of other things, but we can see that there's a psychological war going on. There's a computer war is going on. Chemical war is going on. Yeah, but let's see how we can build the capability here to face all those things. But at the same time, I'm coming to your line of business, right? Where do you see yourself, when you talk about the success part, where exactly you are with this startup?
We're close. How we define success is that, I keep telling this to my team. For us, the definition of success is when soldiers use our systems and they come back to the base of operations, everyone alive, completing all the mission objectives, and then they give a call and say,
Mission accomplished.
one of your system was one of the crucial elements in our mission, and we are all back alive. That, when they say that, that is our success.
Right.
It might not happen, but we'll get to know it in different
at
methods.
least even if you can reduce the casualty, then it's good.
We want to make it zero casualties.
Right.
So we'll do everything. This is the point of engineering, right? We keep iterating. We keep enhancing the capabilities of the system and building ancillary systems in supporting their areas of operations. So that's our success. That will be our success.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So now we are about to finish the conversation, and I have something for you to rapid fire round. Okay. This is very interesting. Okay. So, who has been your greatest inspiration?
It would be wrong on my part if I take out just one name, because as entrepreneurs, this is one of the skill that we need to look into the best aspects of every person and try to imbibe that. So it would not do justice if I take out one name.
Okay. So maybe your team, you can't take long sentence, just short things. Okay. When you take your rapid fire. And what business related book has inspired you the most?
Can I say two?
Yeah, take two.
Competitive Strategy by Michael Porter, and Blue Ocean Strategy. Those two books.
Okay. If you had a magic stick, which are the three things you would change in the world?
Okay. Not three things, just one.
Okay, take one.
Not change, eliminate Ajnana.
Okay.
Ajnana is what leads to adharma or destructive thoughts and actions.
Okay. So thank you so much, Nuthan. It is indeed a nice conversation with you, and I have seen the different aspect of the defense and the military and the security force we have here. As a layman, as a civilians, we just look at the things the way it is coming on a way, but you have given me a lot of insights and how you are adding value to the military force, and definitely I wish you all the very best for your startup.
Thank you.
And hope you will do in your life. And I have a small gesture whenever we take a call. Okay, guys, this is the conversation with Nuthan, and definitely you can visit his website and look at his profile on LinkedIn. In case if any of the VCs or any investors watching this video, they are interested getting into this business model, Nuthan is the right person to talk about it. I will mention his details in the description. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and tab tak ke liye bado ko namaskar, choto ko pyar.